Welcome back. New York prosecutors have convened a special grand jury, Manhattan prosecutors, to consider evidence in former President Trump's business dealings, signaling that the district attorney in Manhattan, Cyrus Vance, is looking towards criminal charges. An investigation by the district attorney has spanned more than 2 years, and it looks into a variety of financial matters, including property valuation and employee compensation. The Justice Department has released a portion also of an internal memo cited by former leaders as part of the decision, concluding that President Trump did not obstruct justice, but the DOJ said it would block the full document from being released. This was in relation to the Russia investigation. Meanwhile, former White House Chief Counsel Don McGahn is reportedly expected to testify before a closed-door House panel next week. The House Judiciary Committee expecting McGahn to answer questions related to the Mueller report and, again, possible obstruction of justice. They can't let this go. Let's welcome in now former Federal Prosecutor Jim Trusty. Great to see you, Jim.
Hey, thanks, John.
All right, so former President Trump last night issued this statement. Here's what he had to say. It's a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in history. It began the day, came down the escalator in Trump Tower, and it has never stopped. What do you expect to come from this grand jury? As our friend Alan Dershowitz likes to say, you can indict a ham sandwich. Does that mean we're going to see indictments coming out of this grand jury?
Well, we may eventually, but there's some huge red flags. And the first one is just the basic principle that ethical prosecutors are not supposed to talk about grand jury proceedings. There's very strict secrecy rules. They're not supposed to announce their targets. So, we're starting off in an area that's highly politicized right from the get-go. And then there's other things about both Vance and James that should be red flags to anyone looking for justice as opposed to political headlines.
Yeah, we've seen both of them come out and overtly talk politically against President Trump here. The other thing I think is troubling for folks is the appearance of collusion perhaps between House Democrats and Cyrus Vance. They seem so thirsty to get their hands on the president's tax returns. This is part of this as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cyrus Vance has received 8 years worth of federal and state tax returns for President Trump. That's already beyond the statute of limitations for most offenses. So this really is a fishing expedition from everything we can tell from the outside. And I would also point to what Vance did in the Manafort case. If you remember, when Manafort was sentenced in federal court in D.C., the same day, big hoopla, big press conference announcing that he would never escape New York justice. And Vance indicted for the exact same conduct in New York. And I would submit, knowing that New York's double jeopardy provision in its constitution would call for dismissal. That case was dismissed. But the real story behind the headlines is, did he know it was dismissible? Did he know that he was ethically barred from bringing that case in the first place? So, again, every sign we see from the outside, at least, really bespeaks to a political motivation when it comes to Cyrus Vance and Letitia James.
Well, as a layperson in this conversation, you would expect a guy like Cyrus Vance with his legal background to know that that wouldn't be possible. And, it does raise questions if he was using these, the court as a political apparatus.
Right. Well, you'd at least expect some gray head that worked there next to him to say, hey, boss, this is something that's going to get dismissed in a New York minute. This is a violation of the state double jeopardy provision. It's different than the federal one. It's a more restrictive provision, but they have to know that. They've lived that over the years before. So to me, that's kind of the hidden story about Vance. Not just that he did some political grandstanding at Manafort's, at least short-term expense, but that he probably knew that it was wrong to bring the case in the first place. And I don't see much reporting on that, but I'd love to hear Vance ask some questions about that, because there's some real shaky ethics going on.
Hey, if nothing else, it would make a great episode of Law and Order. You can just picture Sam Waterston being dressed down by the District Attorney Ben. You can't bring these charges, Anyway, I digress. Let's talk about Steve Bannon as well, because federal fraud charges against the former White House chief strategist have officially been dismissed by a federal judge. This happened yesterday. This is all in relation to that We Build the Wall fundraising scheme he was accused of. Were you surprised to see these charges dropped?
No, that's actually what's supposed to happen when there's a pardon. A pardon from the president means federal cases disappear. Then he was dismissed from the indictment, which really is the right procedure to follow at that point. What's interesting about the opinion, the judge wrote out kind of her explanation for the dismissal, is there's a lot of gratuitous slamming of Bannon. I mean, she puts a whole bunch of stuff from the indictment in to say, look how dirty he was. Then drags out a quote from a couple hundred years ago saying basically pardons are for guilty people, which is historically true. So it was a little, I thought, gratuitous when it's the kind of thing a judge could literally just enter a 2-sentence explanation that the case was dismissed against him. Instead, she took a few pages to take some shots at him. What's crazy is going to be to watch the co-defendants' trial. What are they going to do as they go to trial on the exact same conduct, or maybe even less conduct than Bannon was alleged to be in? They're going to try to drag out the fact of that pardon in front of a trial jury someday.
It reminds me that the judge's ruling and what she included, those gratuitous kind of attacks on Bannon, it does remind me a little bit of the Michael Flynn and the judge there. Where, you're not supposed to have the judge, pouring their emotions out on the page. That's what, the legal doctrine is for, and the actual, legal ruling is for. This does seem to be a trend, and it goes all the way to the Supreme Court sometimes. There's too much emotion sometimes in these decisions. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, look, there's some really smart people around the federal benches around this country, and certainly on the Supreme Court. I may not always agree with their bottom line on certain things, and I would bet on them being right more than me. But the bottom line is, when they add gratuitous information just designed to take a little shot, just to explain how reluctant they are to let go of a case, I don't think that's very good for the system, whether it's Flynn or Trump or Bannon or anybody else. When a judge kind of weighs in or shows their hand that they're frustrated that the case is going away, I think that's a bad look.
Yeah, Judge Emmett Sullivan is the guy I'm thinking of. But Jim Trusty, great to see you so much. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.